Interface Overview. Hello friends, I'm glad to welcome you to our course. I hope that it will be not only useful, but also interesting. AIM School team is with you. Run the program. Photoshop 2023 welcomes us. And the first thing that catches my eye is of course the welcome screen of Photoshop that is very happy to see us. Those files that I opened last, we see them here. On the left side of the screen, we can select various options. Also, what about Lightroom? I don't have any photos here yet. Maybe, like you, if you don't work with this program yet. We are more interested in these two buttons, Create and Open. I mean, create a new file and open some of the existing files. Let's start by choosing Open. A dialog box opens, the same as always when opening files. We select the file we need and click Open. And now it will open. Photoshop allows you to open multiple images at the same time and switch between them. To do this, go to the File menu, select Open in the drop-down list. Unfortunately, I don't have all the menus in the recording area, but here at the top I have the button Open. It is the second from the top, but it is the best to use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+O. It will be faster. Select another file. And now I have opened such a picture. That is, I can move from one image to another and take something from one image and put it in the second image in this way. If you need to see both images at the same time, then you can do this. Pull out this window a little by clicking the mouse. And place this image, for example, somewhere nearby that is convenient for you. You can compare these two pictures and perform other actions. In some cases, it can be very convenient. You can pull out not only one window like this, but also a large number. When you no longer need this option, then you just take it and drag it up until such a blue frame appears. If you release it, the picture will be fixed in the top again. It is really very convenient, especially when you make some kind of collage. But sometimes we need to work with some detail and at the same time see how the changes we have made affect the entire image. And then we can open the same image in multiple tabs, in two tabs. To do this, go to the Window menu and select Arrange. And then I choose a new window for the file, which I have just opened. And if we look, we have the name of the file written on the tab. It repeats twice. This means that they are actually the same file. And then I take, for example, this tab and pull it out here. I can move this window to a convenient place in which I can see everything well. And let's say I want to work in more detail with this part of the image. For example, I want to change the eye color or do something else. I zoom in as close as possible to work with some fragment that I need for this. And at the same time, I see the image in full size and see how the changes will be reflected in the image as a whole. We will consider all these operations in more detail, how exactly we can make some changes. Now we're just getting acquainted with some basic concepts of the program interface. After achieving my task, I can return this window to its place. It may or may not be needed again. I can click the cross and then this window will just close. There are different ways to approximate the image. We will consider all of them as we continue the course. Now I will show you the simplest of them. Let's choose Magnifying Glass tool. You need to click on this tool. It is called Zoom. You can open it in several ways. First, by clicking on the magnifying glass image itself. Second, by clicking on the icon itself. Or the last one, by pressing that key on the keyboard. And then we can click the magnifying glass on the image and it will zoom. If you hold down the Alt key at the same time, it will be zoom out. In the future, we'll also look at the other ways to zoom in and delete the image when we configure all the program settings, because some of them are not enabled by default. I also want to show you other ways to open a file. Sometimes we want to open several files already from Explorer. Then we can go to the folder we need, select Open select the desired folder, and we can simply highlight all the files that we need to open, choose Open, and they will open at the same time. We have the other ways to place an image on the screen, besides that one I showed earlier. If you go to the menu window and select Arrange, then you can see some list of ways to do this. Well, for example, I will choose this one, and you see, we have placed the images. So, you can choose the option that you like. If you look through all these options, Window, Arrange, then you'll understand which one can be more convenient for you. You can return to the original state by selecting Combine Everything in tabs. Everything has returned to its previous state, but most often, of course, people use the classic tab layout, because it meets the needs of most users. Let's talk a little bit about the program interface. At the top, we have the main menu, in which we can perform basic operations with our image. For example, we have already opened it, but we can also save, close, do some other operations. There are filters, the ability to edit images. We will consider all this in other lessons. The upper menu is designed to perform some general tasks and to work on the image as a whole. That is, for example, by going to the File menu, we can open, close, save, or do some other general actions with our file. In the Filter menu, we can apply some filters that will change our image in general. If we go, for example, to text, then we will see different options related to what we can do with the text. Now let's go to the Tools panel. If working with the top menu involves working on the image as a whole, then working in the toolbar is completely different. We will talk about the fact that we can work with some area, some fragment of the image in a certain way, and there is its own tool for each of the types of action. You have already become a little familiar with the magnifying glass tool. As you can see, when the tool is active, it is highlighted in such a dark gray color. Now it is active. Let's say we have moved our image a little. The Hand tool, which is called by the H shortcut, allows this image to be moved around the screen, so that it's convenient for us to work with the part that we need. And now we can perform some actions with the muzzle of this cat. And I want you to note the following. When we select any tool, now I select this one, it is called Burn. We have an additional menu in the upper part that allows you to configure this tool, and when you open any of the other tools, this will happen again. Also, if necessary, you can move the toolbar to the part of the screen you need. Well, for example, you can move it to the right. Sometimes it is really more convenient. For example, in cases when for some reason you don't want to work with the keyboard, don't want to use shortcuts, while you have a large monitor and you have to move the mouse actively in order to get to the left side of the screen. And usually people work with their right hand, so in this case you can move it, for example here. You can also click on these arrows to make all the tools be in one line. Now they are on one line and I can return them in the same way back. If you need to move it, we take this place and drag it to where it is most convenient for us. And now let's talk about another very convenient element of the interface. It is called the palette. It is located in the Window menu. Here we have a lot of different palettes, each of which is responsible for a certain set of actions. For example, let's open the Navigator palette. We already know that it is possible to zoom in with a magnifying glass, but the Navigator palette allows us to do it with a percentage display. And as you can see, there is such a red square, a rectangle, which you can move and select the part of the image that you want to zoom in, as close as possible. There are other palettes. For example, we can go to the palette called Brush, and it will provide an opportunity to select the necessary brush for drawing. Here we can see a large number of brushes that we can choose and customize as we want. Thus, it is an additional part of the interface, which on the other hand complements the top menu, on the other hand complements the toolbar. Let's talk about the organization of work with palettes. You can minimize it by clicking on this icon, and now you see different palettes on the right side of the screen. They are minimized. In addition, you can also open them from here. For example, open the same navigator. You can click and this palette will open if you have it pulled out here. Now I was opening the brush palette. Look, this one. In the minimized state, I can take it and move it here. Let's see, a blue stripe lit up. And then, if you need this palette, you can always open it like any other palettes. You can edit or remove palettes. For example, I can click the cross and the palettes will disappear. Thus, you can create the most convenient workspace for yourself. That's actually all I wanted to tell you about the interface elements. And also, you can close the file by selecting File, Close, or using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+W. If you think it is necessary to save the changes, then you save. If it is not, then you don't. We don't have any changes that I would like to keep. I want to say a few words about how our course will be organized. Each lesson will have a specific homework, so that you can solidify your knowledge. To complete this homework, we will give you the same images that we use in the lesson. You can take these images that we saw today and practice on them, or on your images. Open a file, place it in tabs, close the file, practice with zooming in, deleting and scaling the image. Then the homework will be more difficult. That's all for today. AIM School was with you. I am waiting for you in the next lessons.